Let's get started.
Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And thanks, Philippe, for being here with us.
Yeah,
It's a great
Philippe.
honor. Yeah.
Philippe will make the animation and interviewer for this proposal to you. That will be when the impossible becomes possible. So I will answer his question, and he will animate all that.
That's a very big question. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is with great joy that I am sharing something that's it's rooted deeply in my heart today. That's when the impossible becomes possible, because it's all related to all our capabilities, and we all have tremendous capabilities. And the more we go into it, the more we go into miracles, the more we'll go into, for example, delocalization or things like that. The more we know that everything's possible right now. So, what this live will be made up of testimonies as well as tips to know how to go into the worlds of miracles. So, and it's particularly, I would say, adapted because we are entering the summer solstice, 21st of June, and in this period we have to learn how to manifest our divine being. And our divine being, it's called omniscient. That means that it's connected to all what is, and also it is omnipotent. That means that we do have all the capabilities. And now our main goal is to learn how to manifest our divine capabilities in our everyday life. I hope that to the end of this session you will have the necessary tips to go through it.
All right. And I was about to tell you about this solstice, summer solstice. And what is very particular with it?
That's a time where the sun, it's the time or the sun shine, it's as it speaks. So in terms of, that's not only an astronomical event, but that's also a kinds of energetic portals where you can change, I would say, your state of minds and begin to build new beings through that, because that's really a special period of the years. You come by from the necessary chaos going on into the winters to the realization of yourself and the manifestation into your everyday life. So that's really a path to go through. That's very important. And for that path, last weekend we were in Sainte Marie de la Mer. Sainte Marie la Mer, that's something fantastic, because that's a place where Marie Magdalena, accompanied by Lazare, Maximin, Marie Jacobet, Marie Salome, and Sarah, has been boarding with his boat onto the beach. And we were there. And when we speak, when the impossible become possible, what happened there? We were onto the parking lot just speaking about the intention that was given for the daytime. And what occurs was wonderful circles going on around the sun. I have fantastic pictures about that. And the sun with his lights just designing a course. So that was above all us for the beginning of the day. So that was a manifestation of Marie Magdalena. So that's when the impossible become possible. That was a start before we go to the place of the beach where she boarded with all his crew. We can say his crew, but all his friends and sisters and brothers. And then we did a ceremony of baptism, and that was really fantastic, because we all feel the Holy Spirit coming by into all of us. So that has been a tremendous moment, as you can imagine.
We can see with your eyes, and all the vibrations that are coming from you are just like, wow, we would have loved to be there.
Yeah, especially because we also have witnessing a miracle. A woman couldn't anymore enter into the water because she was so afraid for all his life. And then she has been able, through my guidance, we were the guidance given by Marie Magdalena. I was always a canal for that. She has been able to enter until the waters, the sea waters came to his belly. So that was really a fantastic part for her. So that was, for me, that's kind of miracle that occurs when we are doing these works, and that's really comfort me. After that, in the afternoon, we have been into this fantastic church where there are the relics of Marie Jacobet, Marie Salome, and also of Sarah, and you can touch the stone where their bodies were has been recovered, and it was a stone, it was like a pillow, and you can, by touching the stone, you can really be in contact with both of them. And that means that when you're entering the church, it was as if you came back into the time of the Christ and Mary Magdalena, and that you were parts of the family. I've heard the Christ speaking. I've been into these meetings with all the apostles and so on at the time I was in the church, really. And there is a place into the church when you can just pray, and it's just above the crypt where there are the relics of Sarah. But there is a story about Sarah, because into the Provençal, I would say, story, they say that Sarah just welcomed Marie Magdalena onto this Provence earth. But that's not exactly what has been given, and that's not exactly what is written in other traditions. For the Catholic tradition, Sarah was kind of slave, which was at the service of Mary Magdalena. From me on, I believe that Sarah was a truly initiate who was chosen to be with Mary Magdalena and the Christ, to learn them and transfer them the pagans' knowledge, so that they can include them into their spirituality, their new spirituality, which was that is open to everything. I believe the true Jesus spirituality is very, very much open to everything, because we all know that the Christ has been educated all around the world by Indian spirituality, Buddhism spiritualities, and also the Celtic spiritualities. That's for sure parts of education. And I must not forget. I must not forget the Egyptian one, for sure.
And for sure, again, yeah. And I'm like, okay, is this solstice, is it the strongest one, or during the year, or is it like a very particular one that we should all have to be aware of, I would say?
I would say that there are two solstices into the year. There is a summer solstice and the winter solstice. The winter solstice, it is a point where we have to go in our inner self deeply, when we have to fully get rid of everything that will stuck us into this human world, just to go deeply in ourselves and just to find out what's really I would say, jail us into some behavior and things that we have to get rid of, and so to birth again when the suns come back. So that's really a portal also. But this year's, I believe it has a particular quality, because a lot of people around me, that I'm doing healing sessions, and a lot of people around me, and also friends talk to me, has been telling me that, and I've been also in a state of chaos for 1 month at least, at the least, and that is a necessary chaos. So we have to rebuild ourselves and to become new at the time of the solstice. So that's really an energy which that accompany us into this fantastic process of rebirthing again, and new, to become closer and closer to our divine nature.
So it's like a rebirth.
Yeah, it's really a rebirth. It's really a rebirth, okay. and also it's a rebirth. And then if we are just we go through this path with a lot of consciousness, we can get the way of behaving differently, the way of creating a new life and getting new manifestation in our life of the new being that we are today. So that's something really fantastic. And as I was talking to you, when the impossible became possible, there are all those relics in the Sainte Marie de la Mer churches. And so you have access to the relics of Sarah, Marie Madeleine, and Marie Jacobet. And there has been a lot of miracles going on into the church through the intercession of those saints. And that's really something fantastic. And I can say to you That's the vibration of all of them, of those women who have been, well, we did have the courage to leave their country to come by, accompany Mary Magdalena just to preach and to give healings and to awaken people in France. So that's really a fantastic story of courage, so that we have all to be aware of that.
And as you're talking about it, so go ahead.
And so,
any questions for you now?
about when the impossible become possible, there are the miracles, but the healings which occur, and then also the awakenings of people. But there are also what's called the B-localization, and the B-location. That means that you can see somebody, and Padre Pio was a lot of use to that, and there are a lot of witnesses of that he was at two places at the time. We also find that for Saint Teresa of Avila and a lot of other saints. So that's something that is well known, B-location or B-localization, as you want to. Then there is also the levitation, which has been witnessed also about certain saints. And Padre Pio, it arose once when there were so many people in his church that he has been obliged just to walk above the heads of the people present there to get out of the church. But that's something. But there is also another saint that I didn't remember the name, and I remember that every time he pray, every time he was on a state of ecstasy, he was just flying. His body were flying, and all the other priests were witnessing that. So it really can exist also. And there is also something that it's not so well known, that's called the transverberation. That means that the spears or arrows which go through the heart, so that the persons who are living that can really be impregnated, be fully aware of the presence of the divine into themselves. It's like a transmission, but that's a very tough transmission, because it hurts a lot, because it's a way of cleaning the heart from everything that's not needed into it. So you can imagine how much things we do have in the world that need to be clean and get rid of.
Just picture it and feel it through your vibration. You were talking about ecstasy and so on. I'm like, wow, all those words you're using. I mean, I don't know about people who are paying attention to what we were saying now, but that's outstanding. And I would love. I'm coming in July. I would love going to where you went, just to feel what you felt.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Where we are living, there are a lot of places. There is Cotignac, which is placed nearby our house, and in Cotignac you have the presence of Joseph. Joseph has manifested itself. Joseph, Jesus' fathers, and also Mary and the children has been manifesting themselves. So that's a sacred couple that's been there. There has been a lot of miracle, especially for having children, giving birth to children, people who medically couldn't have any child. That's after going there and praying, just did have child after that. So that means a lot to me. And there are also the Mary Magdalena cave, not so far from her. I know another cave, which that was a very, very old church, and it might certainly be a pagan place, a sacred pagan place. So there are a lot of things where we are living, not so far away. But what now I would like to talk about. How do we welcome the presence of the divine within us? What kind of mood, what kind of feeling, what kind of opening in ourselves just get us to access to the miracle?
So everybody can access and get access to the divine, welcome the divine, and to feel this presence within ourselves.
That's kind of circumstance. It can be made with a lot of people. On Thursday, we will go at Saint Nicolas in Paris, and where there is a prayer at 6 p.m. and that's a prayer of healing. And there are so many testimony of people healing, and by going there, that's really incredible what's occurred there. But because there is a whole feeling of all the public just giving their faith, opening to God, and just living themselves. It's a kind of surrendering totally to him. Then everybody can just initiate his divine qualities, his divine frequency, just by being in contact with, because it will resonate and it will just awaken what is sleeping into us. And so by qualities that create the inner space where what seems impossible can become possible, I would say that the first quality to me is just surrendering. We must leave all our securities in life. We must leave everything we think we belong to, and just at the door, and just enter in the path of the divine being, just leaving ourselves very confidently, just surrendering totally.
And for people, I think it is something very hard, because like to let things go when everywhere in our society, we need to think and have the whole mental controlling things in our body in a way. So, I mean, how can we just leave things go?
I would say that's exactly, you put the point, because in our societies, everybody just builds securities and don't stop to build securities. Why? Because people are controlled if they are in the fear. And where people do have fears, they need securities to go through, and that's the way to control them. But if we want to surrender to divine light, it's complete abandonment. It's a willingness to get rid of all our securities. And by securities, I will mean also our identity that we have built and that we fight for. We have to leave our identity, our human identity. That's just a path, a small path into the multiple life we did have, into the multiple incarnation that we did have before. It's just a small moment. So it's very easy to understand that, to get rid of that, because our true natures, our eternal nature, it's divine. And in this way, when we get rid of all our security, that's what Christ referred to as spiritual poverty, no poverty of material possession, but poverty in the sense of no longing to possess anything, no longer needing to control anything, so that we may rest completely in the embrace of the Christ.
Wow. I mean, it's a state of meditation, is it?
Yeah, I would say that it's a state of meditation when your heart is fully open and when your body is fully rounded and filled of love and happiness, and then connected to the inner earth, the divine earth, and in this presence to the moment, you can just surrender, because you feel in security, you feel in harmony, you feel your belongings, and then in this space, you become flexible, you are in the flow, and you remain open to wonder, because nothing is predetermined. So,
all right. So during this meditation and the moment that we let things go and we are contacting the divine and our divine, I mean, what's going on? Within ourselves? Like, are we just do we receive messages like from the divine, or is it like complete abandonment?
When we are surrendering, it's I would say it's complete with what as our faith is. At what level is our faith? Because to surrender, we need to have faith. Faith, that's by surrendering, we will come in the flow of the light, and then that our path that will be designed with that. And so, what's happened in that consciousness, in that state of consciousness, you belong to, you feel the vibration, the frequencies of all the light beings that are around you, and then you have feelings of I come back to that again, of belongings, of being parts of, and then sometimes through what you receive, the immensity of what you receive, you feel the needs to speak about, or to get thoughts in your mind that will translate small parts of what you receive. It will translate just what is needed for you to evolve, and it can be a message from the light being that is needed for you at the moment. And
I mean, you were talking about this summer solstice, but can we do that not actually being during the summer solstice, or is it something that is really something about the summer solstice? Like you need
No, I would say
meditation
that
at that moment.
the quality, the virtue that I am speaking about, we speak about
Mm,
surrendering, faith, the divine self. That's quality that maybe that has to become parts of our inner self, and that our true self in everyday life, whatever be the year, the time of the years. And
okay.
I can add some other quality. For example, what is called charisma. Charisma, it's some people call it the gifts. The gift of the Holy Spirit. So some people have the charisma of language. That's in that they can speak every language. But some have the charisma of knowledge, so they can know what's going on somebody else. So I know that in Saint Nicholas, where there are those miracles prayers, some people have this capacity of this charisma of knowledge, and at the time they will tell, okay, I know that somebody is coming here with the intention of feeling his legs, and I know that it's done right now, and the person in the assembly just say, okay, it's me. Yeah, effectively, my legs are now healed.
Mm.
So and this
Wow.
charisma make it's the quality, it's the capacity that are given to know by the Holy Spirits, and that's our spiritual capacity. And that sometime that the flame of the Holy Spirit is descending into us, that will give us those capabilities. So that's really fantastic. But they can reach us only if we do have the faith, only if we surrender, only if we open our heart fully.
So yeah, and through this meditation and this moment, this I would say outstanding moment that we can leave, we actually receive gifts.
That's right.
And
That's right. From the divine beings, a lot of them, a lot of them. And I would say that all these styles or states of consciousness are preparatory to receiving the miracles into us, and that makes the miracles belongs. That's make the miracles possible. That makes the impossible possible. I've heard the stories of a woman having cancer of an intestine. Intestine. That's the English word.
yeah,
Cancer.
yeah, you can say that.
Okay, cancer, and she was really at terminatory time of his illness, and so that's was very painful, and parts of his cell was only disintegrated, and so she fell in coma, and because she felt in comas, she doesn't have any human protection about the beliefs of what can exist, what can be made, and so on. So she was truly open, and then the miracle occurs, and then the doctors have just witnessed that the cancer was gone totally, and then that the intestine was truly new. After when she come out of his coma, when she came out of her coma, of his coma, I would say that's the intestine was completely healed, because she just surrenders to all the human limitation, and just it has been possible for his inner capacity just to behave. There is also another one that's another capability. We speak about surrendering, faith, divine self, charisma. Also, there are sometimes I would say that the altar, we can also, by all that, we find ourselves into mystical states and alter states of consciousness. And that can be reached through sound, through music, through songs, and through the geometry and form of sacred site, by the energy that are present here. And this alter state of consciousness that allows us to enter into space where everything's impossible. And then the impossible can become possible. And then there is also something that occurs, because we are speaking just only about ourselves, but what's occurring also, you were talking to me about the communication, that's called intercession. So that means that as Mary will intercede for you at Lourdes, for example, where I've been witnessing miracles as well, and you have Mary that's just interceded at Lourdes for the people's being that intercede with goats, and that's what occurs also about with the miracle that occurs in Sainte Marie de la Mer, that Marie Jacobet, Salome just intercede for people so that they can heal. And maybe I will have a testimony about Lourdes. I've been there, and I remember it was on Thursday, and then from me on, I have a pain to the pain to parts of my body that's for 2 years, and that disappear almost instantaneously. And then a friend of mine just fall to the ground. It was very painful. And just he asked me what to do. Just I told him call Mary, and just he slept for one night, and in the morning he was completely healed. And on Monday when I was back at my home, and a woman called me, and that I know well about, and she told me, okay, I can't get up from my bed. I am completely blocked there, and I need my daughter to help me to stand up and make my life. And so without her, I can't stand up at all. And so I could you help me? So I told her, okay, so just lie, and just I will introduce you to the beings of to the states of being that will give you access to the miracles. And then she listened to me, as I've told you right now in this video. And then I told her when she was in this state of beings, I told her just now it's time to call Mary, and just she called Mary, and just I told her, just email me when you will be able to wake up by yourself. 15 minutes later, she made me an email. Philippe, it's here. I can wake up and stand up now. Wow. That's okay. 15 minutes after. And then before, she couldn't even stand up alone. Okay.
And during this, this precise moment, I mean, you told us that we could experience that throughout the year. Okay. But with this precise moment, do you think it would be a good thing to, for example, to ask you for healings at this precise moment, or is it stronger, or is it you can do that all year long?
I believe that it can occur all year long, whatever the time. Every time it's a path, it's a moment in our path, and every time has its specificity, and where I would say that in its specificity, there is always something to go above, to go further, and so at any time you can receive something, because what we call impossible become possible. That's also in your awakening. That's not also always healing, because some people will say, okay, I am not healed. Why not me? Because some people want just that as a gift of comfort, of well-being. They just want that for being well, but no more. But what really implies a miraculous healing, that's a really transformation of ourself. That's the access to something above us. And when you accept that the source of the healing is there, because you have accept to change and to hear to what your body is telling you, to what your light is telling you. Hello, it's time to change. You have to change your life, you have to change your belief, you have to change your consciousness. And then you can access to the miracle, because you are in the flow, you are surrendering. You just want to just have a well-being healing. That's not that. Whatever. If you do that, you won't go to the source of your problem. And that's what is needed. And something I want to go with that, because there is something about accepting. Maybe you have to suffer from time, because you have to, that's always an experience wanted by the source, by the lights, that you have to go through. When we speak about Maria Baltorta, for example, which was been staying in his bed, and while she was suffering, she has been writing about Jesus, and she was living at thousands of kilometers from Palestine, and she has been able to describe small villages and places that doesn't exist anymore, that from his bed in Palestine, that help archaeologists to find out those small villages that has disappeared. And you have also the cases of, for example, Padre Pio with his stigmats. You know, he has all the the stigma
Yeah, stigmas,
that appear, that making suffering a lot, and that were bleeding all the day long. And that was a part. You know why? Because he needed to get rid of all his human, I would say, limitations. And with these sufferings, he couldn't be only in God.
And actually, we have a lot of limitations. We do have a lot of limitations. And so you mean that if we suffer, it means that it is a message. And this message should be understood.
Yeah, that's it. We suffer. That means that we have to hear to what our body is saying. In reality, it's not our body. It's the light through our body who want to speak to us. And so we have to hear what the light is telling us. And moreover, then for that, we have to be fully in acceptance with the experience we are living. It's not a suffering. It's not the fault of somebody else. It's just an experience we are going through, just to become greater and greater, and just as we and just to accept. When we accept things, we can go through. For example, I can talk to you about Saint Thérèse d'Avila and Jean de la Croix. Saint Thérèse d'Avila has been writing about the Crystal Castle, and in which she described the 7 paths to the realization, so to the access to our divine self. And she has been writing that with tremendous migraine, headache, tremendous headache, and she has been writing that while she was experiencing tremendous headaches. And for Jean de la Croix, that was also his friends, because both they wanted to get new rules for the Carmel. He has been imprisoned. He went in jail, and the jail was very humid, and in the jail they didn't have any suns going on, and I will say the priors take him and just I don't know, flagellate, maybe, I don't know if it's in English.
Flagellate,
Just flagellate him, and they do everything to break himself completely. But in this state, he has been writing just let me remember the name. The night, okay. The Night of the Soul. And he has been writing that because he was really in the night of the soul. And by accepting what was going on, he has been able to describe how to access through God, even through the most painful experience. Remember which time Jesus became Christ.
Oh, wow.
On the cross.
Yeah.
You remember all the suffering that made him call help to his fathers. And at the time, and so he has to go through this experience to really access to his true reality completely, fully. And so that's exactly the same. And so that's also when the impossible become possible. Accept everything that happens in your life as an experience, and just take the experience, go through that, and maybe even if there are pains and so on, you will give to the world and give to yourself something fantastic, because you will have no barrier, no border anymore, no limitations anymore through that.
Would you qualify this as one word, like resilience?
Yeah, sure, it's resilience, but it's also acceptation. It's also the Buddhism path of non-attachment, and that means that in the state of man, you can look at the flow stage, look at the flow of life going on like that, and just accepting everything that occurs, but not be going into the flow of life by acting and reacting. Just leaving yourself flow into the flow of life. That's something completely different, because it's being totally in the present right now, because everything that we speak about 3 seconds before doesn't exist anymore. That's cosmic energies have changed, earth energies have changed, everything has changed. So the past doesn't exist anymore. We can access to it, that sure change it, but somewhere it doesn't exist.
So with the help of the divine, with the help of the light beings, and surrendering our well, with our past life, for example,
Yeah,
we can get miracles. Is that
yeah,
it?
yeah. That. That's that. Faith, surrendering, access to our divine self, accepting, accepting the charisma, our new capacities coming on, accepting to belong, accepting to be parts of. But I would say the main thing is the poverty taught by the Christ. We
Mhm.
have to go with a lot of humility and not uh, placing any parts of our energy just to fight for maintaining an identity that doesn't exist at all. That's just an illusion because our
Mhm.
real self is somewhere else.
So you mean so you're telling people, and to me, and I'm impressed, and I'm like, wow. Um, you're telling people that in a way you can get healed
Yeah.
just surrendering and letting things go and just accepting things, getting rid of your limitations, and so in a way it's you can get healed just with yourself, like being
Yeah,
yourself.
that's right.
Yourself.
Yourself in connection with all that is, because that's a part that I wanted part that I want to talk to you about. We all are in connection with what's called the united fields of consciousness, and into that, as shown by Rupert Sheldrake, there is also morphic fields of consciousness, and in those morphic fields that are related to our body, to the materiality, then we can find the necessary information of I would say the organs into their pure shape and then pure nature that heal an information of healed organs. And then we can go into just connect to this unified field and these unified morphic fields of consciousness, and then get the information of a healed organ, and that's get it back and put it into ourselves, into the consciousness of ourselves, into the parts that need to be healed. I've done that from a part of myself where I did have a beginning of arthrosis that was quite advanced, and then I healed myself in 6 months by doing this practice. I just changed the fields of consciousness
Mhm.
at which my cells refers to recreate themselves again, because that was an information of suffering due what was in these parts of my body. And so I'm sure I have been into the source of that, but I needed physical way of acting onto myself so that they stop to recreate also the same kinds of things that give me pain and so on. And so I give them an informations of well-being, of heal parts of my body, and then they change, and then it healed me completely after 6 months.
That's in a way for I mean for our listeners, for example. I mean that's outstanding news. Like you don't have necessarily to go to the hospital or so on, but most of the time, you can just trust the divine, trust yourselves, trust your own truth, and just get healed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes
this
it can.
this is.
Sometimes it can arouse when the impossible become possible. That's arouse in the field of healing, but it can arouse also in our capabilities. We could talk about the remote viewers, people which that are able from a point to see what's going on into another countries and describe it and to come back with drawings. They have been used by secret services to see what was going on into some parts where there were buildings, weapons, and so on. And so they came back with all the information needed, and there are proof. Some people say, okay, you think it's not ready, but the submarines will come back, will go into the sea in 15 days, and then you will see it. You see what I mean? And 15 days later, the submarines come to the sea, and they saw this Russian submarine described by this remote viewer who has seen it from the United States.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of capabilities that also we do have. So that's when the impossible became possible. That go far away than only healing.
I mean, this should be like breaking news. Breaking news. Yeah, and the headlines. I mean, tomorrow's headlines. I mean, the impossible becomes possible. I mean,
Yeah,
just we have what's needed within ourselves. and that should be that should be said to well, as many people as we can. Yeah,
That's what we are doing now. That's what we are doing now. That's because that's a way of that's a way of freeing ourselves totally.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm amazed as well because all these questions and all the things you said are truly impressive. You told us about like what we call miracles, and it was just about asking the divine. It was just about letting things go, and just what everybody dreams of, like let things go. And it's just like, wow, the soothing moment, the real soothing moment. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed by what we can do, and I'm looking forward to coming to you and having more information and letting things go as well. Yeah.
Okay, we'll meet in July. So now we are going to the end of this live. So I say bye-bye to our listeners and hope you find out
everybody. Thanks for listening.
Follow us. Don't hesitate to follow us, to subscribe, and to share the video to your friends. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And just if you want to have more information, you will have the address of my website, a US website, and those you can access to my healing session and much more. I will offer you some journeys and around the world, and especially in France, to the sacred sites in pretty short time for next year. If you want to join us, that may be a fantastic experience. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.